Hi, my name's Lauren and my pronouns are she, her. Looking forward to delivering this series of maintenance, mindful movements and some exercises to support people who have roller skates. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which I'm on today, the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging on this land. Now today's series is skate maintenance, knowing your gear. Often when we get skating, we like to just get moving, and when something kind of falls apart, we kind of scramble of how to fix it. So today's session is just going through some roller skates, some helmets, some gear, and learning what bit goes where, which tools do I need, and how to put it back together when it falls apart. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to getting started. So first of all, let's talk about roller skates. This is my pair of roller skates, and we're going to go through which each part means. So in every roller skate, you've got the boot on top, got your laces. Some skates have toe guards. I highly recommend these. As you can see, this one's fairly scuffed for when you're falling. It doesn't damage your boot. I've got my toe stops here. This bit usually screwed into the skate and then tightened by an Allen key. Got my lovely wheels. Now this is my plate. This is an Arius plate, which is more commonly used in roller derby, not on ramps. And you can see the bottom of the plate here. You've also got these little bits that attach the wheels, and these are called trucks, okay? So the trucks, you get 2 trucks per roller skate. Now hopefully when you get your pair of roller skates, they will be put together. If not, hopefully someone will help you. There's lots of different ways to manage your setup, so we're just going to go through the basics today. So you can see here with this type of truck, they can be tightened and loosened, and if we go in close, you can see that there's a different color here, and these are cushions, and at the back I have a different color again, which are red ones. Now cushions determine how flexible your roller skates are. So when you're a beginner, I recommend having a little bit of movement. What that allows for is when you decide I want to turn one way, you just lean your weight in the skate and it takes you there and it turns. If it's really rigid, it means that you just need to put a bit more energy into it, which might be more suited to you. It really depends on personal preference. When I was learning to skate, I liked having a little bit of movement so I could wiggle around. If it's too loose, something that did happen to me personally is as I was wiggling around so much, I felt really reactive, but then my back and other areas of my body had to tighten up to provide a bit more stability up the kinetic chain. So if you're experiencing a lot of wiggling or not much wiggling and you can't turn, maybe have a think of your trucks and speak to somebody or message me about if they should be tighter or looser. Now this plate is a bit of a specific one, so I'll show you another more traditional plate as well. Alrighty, so this is my park setup, which has a bit more of a traditional plate. So here underneath we have a pilot plate, which is this black section here that's attached to the boot. And something you can see straight away that's different is that you've got this grind block on this plate, and that's because I use these skates for ramp skating. So here are the trucks for this skate, a little bit different to my other skate. I can hold them up here. And to tighten or loosen these ones, this is a bit more of a traditional system, so your skates might more so look like this. And you can see the cushions for this one are more circular. There you go. So most skates would have 2 sets of cushions, one here and one here. If you've decided to put on a grind block like this, then that'll slip in just after your plate, and then you add your trucks on with this section here, which is your kingpin. Another notable section of a skate that often seems to break right when you don't have any spare parts is the pivot cup. Now the pivot cup is tricky to see. It's this section here and where the truck fits onto the plate. And there's this tiny, imagine like a helmet for a little Lego piece. and that sits in here and it enables the truck to fit in nicely to the boot. Without that, it's really wiggly and unsafe to skate on. So it's nice to have some backup stuff in your gear kit, just in case things go wrong. It's good to have some backup pivot cups if you've got them, or to phone a friend, or just know what's gone wrong. So if something's not feeling quite right, do stop, have a look, and now you know maybe a basic skate maintenance of what to check for. Often when you tighten trucks, a good way to see how tight they are is to sort of push them on your body and then to move them side to side. And like I said earlier, that can determine if you like a loose or a tight setup. I've been skating for a while now and I like a more tight setup. Then we can look at the back one, and this is a back pivot cup here. Again, that's where the truck sits nicely into the skate. So again, I'm going to check this one. Cool, and it's feeling okay for me. Next up, we have wheels. So as you can see, there's something a little bit different between these two wheels. These ones are a little bit smaller. So often when we do park skating, we have smaller and harder wheels, and wheels will come with a different number, and that number indicates the hardness and also the size. So I've got the Bont Street Flow skates, which are a hybrid wheel that I'm trying at the moment, and they're quite hard and quite narrow, and I find that's really good for ramp skating. Moving over to these wheels, they're a little bit wider, and also they're quite softer. So you've got wheels in the 90s up here, which are quite hard, and as the number decreases, it's more soft. So these wheels are Poison 84s, which are quite soft. So these are really good wheels if you want to go outdoor skating, or I've got some Pulse wheels I can show you as well. And for roller derby, I quite like these wheels. However, that's a really sort of personal decision. You just try what you get when you start out, and then you start to find kind of what wheels feels better as you go. So in terms of how to change wheels, that's what we're going to do today. So I've got another pair of skates very similar to my roller derby setup, putting on wheels and tightening them. Let's do it. So the wheels I'm going to be putting on today are some Adam Savant wheels. These are a really good wheel. These they last quite long. I think they're an 89 wheel. I will check. So I've already got my bearing in there, and bearings are what fits inside of the wheels. And a great way to check if a bearing's good to go is by holding your finger on the inner metal and then spinning the wheel, and it should spin and glide really easily. So that tells me that these wheels are good to go. All right, so in order to put my wheels on, I do need a handy tool, something like this, or yours might look a little bit different. Helps me tighten my wheels. So at the end of your truck, you should have a little nut, and that is what you use to tighten wheels. Again, these like to go missing, so it's good to have a few extras in your oh shit kit, as we call them. So step one, the wheel goes on, and pop the nut on. I like to tighten it a bit with my fingers, pop the other one on, and I think I have actually lost a nut, so we'll just do one. And then when you're tightening it, I like to think of half and full turns. So when you're starting, you'll just do a full turn and keep going. As it starts to get a bit harder to turn, you don't want to overturn it and squish the bearing. So I just keep going until I can feel just a tiny wiggle of my wheel. You don't want it to be too loose, similar to your truck, then you're wiggling around everywhere. So once I get to this point, I start doing quarter turns, and then I check it. And the main thing is to check if you get that lovely spin. If it spins and stops, then you're probably gone too tight, which I think I've done. So let's test it out. Beautiful. And that's how you put your wheels on. If you have maybe only one set of bearings, which is pretty common when you're starting out because they can cost a little bit of money, and you need to change bearings into or out of a roller skate, there's two ways to do that. The first way is if you've got a bearing tool like so, which works by pushing the button at the end. And these are really handy because you can put the tool inside the wheel and then essentially kind of start to wiggle it open bit by bit, and you'll see the bearing slightly loosen, and then you'll pull it out completely. Once the bearing's out, to transfer it into a new wheel, all you need to do is pop it in, and then I like to push with force down into the ground. So I'll show you what that looks like. Usually with bearings, you'll feel a nice little pop, and then you'll know that it's in place. Now, let's say you don't have a fancy bearing tool and you need to change bearings for whatever reason. Another way that you can do this is by using your roller skate and using the end of it here. So what you might do, let's say we want to take out the bearing that we just put in, is you pop it down on the end of the truck, and what you're going to do is just angle it slightly and work around as if you were doing the whole wheel, and slowly start to pop it out. So I'll try to get in the video. Of course it's going to be stubborn now I'm trying to do it. There we go. You can hear it. Great. So I got my wheel out just using the end of my roller skate like so. And I might want to check, is my bearing still rolling? If your bearing isn't rolling and it's getting that gunked up feeling, maybe you went for a street skate and it started raining and you were near the beach, which I did do recently, and then your bearings got all gunked up, you can clean them with a bearing solution. And this is one of my goals this year, is to be a bit more environmentally friendly with my gear and to try to clean it and not go through it as quickly. So you can get bearing cleaner, and then you can get sort of like an oil that you put into your bearings, and there's lots of videos with how to clean bearings, so I won't go into that today, but it is something I'll be learning, and that's a great way to clean your bearings and to make them last a lot longer so you don't have to buy more stuff. All right, so we've gone through basic skate stuff around the boot, the plate, the wheels. Next thing I want to touch on is toe stops. They're really handy no matter what kind of skating you do, and there's lots of different ways and heights to have your toe stop. What I find is if you're a beginner and maybe you bought a pair of skates that are on the kind of lower cost scale, the toe stop might be really little and it might not actually be super helpful. So it's good just to have a look at, can this actually hold my body weight? I love really big toe stops because they make me feel really stable and safe. And the way that I test the height of them is I like to put the skate on the ground and then push it into the ground and find out how many fingers the wheels are. So I'll show you what that looks like. Here we go. So I've got my roller skate here and I'm going to push down into my toe stop, and then I'm going to find out how many fingers before I find my back wheel. So at the moment for me there's about 4 fingers. So I would probably readjust that. I prefer it more at 3 fingers, which is quite low. If you have it really sticking out, it can actually get in the way and trip you up. So I wouldn't recommend going any more than that. In order to change your toe stop, most of them have this little Allen key spot here. So why don't I show you, and why don't we adjust mine because they need to be done anyway. So this is the tool that I use to adjust my toe stops. And it's got a few different kind of Allen keys at the end, but you can get any Allen key. You can get a pack of them from a hardware store. They all do the same thing. So to loosen it, we go lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. And you only need to loosen it a little bit, and then your toe stop, as you can see, should just loosen straight away. And again, lefty-loosey, otherwise I'll forget what I'm doing. And then I just keep testing it as I go. Great, so that's about fine for me. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to make sure it's nice and straight and not wiggly, and then just tighten it back up, like so. Toe stops get usually quite a lot of use, so have them as tight as you can basically, because you do not want to be spinning on them and then they fall out from underneath you. All right, so toe stops tightened, wheels are good, boots good, and you're good to go. Next, we're going to talk about helmets, and it's really important to get a certified helmet. I use S1 helmets, and they have a protective layer here alongside the padding that you can use to make sure they're a tight fit. The way you know a helmet fits is really simple. First, put on your helmet with padding on it. I like to take my ponytail out. And from here, a good way to test if a helmet fits is you hold onto the helmet and turn your head. There shouldn't really be any movement. So I can move just a tiny bit, but it feels nice and snug and it's not digging into me. If a helmet didn't fit, this one has zero padding in it at all. What you'll see is this. So I shouldn't be wearing this helmet without the appropriate padding. But I did want to show the difference between a visor helmet and a non-visor helmet. Both are really great, and it's personal preference. I know in derby a lot of jammers like visors because it does protect your face. It feels like there's an extra little force field in front of you, and other players find that they limit their visibility and they prefer not to wear a visor. Either way, it's really smart to train in a way to protect your brain at all costs because it's the most important thing that you have. So that's my recommendation for helmets. Next up, we're going to look at padding. So you've got knee pads, which are great to protect your knees, which usually go on like so. On top, you've got the bottom strap, and you've got the top strap, and then this strap goes all the way around like so, and this one tucks under. Once your knee pad's on, it should look like this. A great addition to knee pads are gaskets. It's really handy to wear gaskets underneath because I feel like it's just another extra piece of padding. Next on, we'll move to elbow guards, really important. I quite like slim elbow guards. The S1s are quite good. Sliding them on like so. 1 and 2, and then you've got a nice fitting elbow pad. And next, wrist guards, really important. There's lots of different kinds of wrist guards. It's good just to find the ones that fit you. I don't think there's particularly a ginormous difference between double splintered ones and single splintered ones. However, when you're starting out, you're going to fall a lot, so it's probably better to have more protection rather than less. These ones are single splintered, which means they just have the wrist part covered and this part is not covered. So I'm more at risk, I suppose, of movement in this area. So when you do find wrist guards, find something that's comfortable, but also that protects you. So that is my breakdown of gear. If you have any questions, please let me know. Reach out to Proud to Play and we'd be more than happy to help. And I hope you enjoy your skating journey and enjoy some of the other videos that we're putting together. Big thanks to Proud to Play for putting this together, and I hope you check out some of the other videos. Thanks, bye.